The 5-minute habit that works.
Part 1. Introduction. The lie of the big change.
The year of failed resolutions.
If you've ever started a new fitness routine on January 1st and quit by the 15th, or tried to write a book only to abandon it after chapter 1, listen closely. This isn't a book about motivation. This is the truth. You are not lazy. You are not lacking willpower. You are simply starting too big. We've all been sold the lie of the grand gesture, the massive overhaul, the 10x effort. It starts with incredible motivation, leads to huge, unsustainable effort, then the inevitable crash, burnout, guilt, and quitting. That cycle isn't a personal failure, it's a system failure. Your brain is designed to reject massive, sudden energy demands. The promise of the micro win. Imagine if success was easy, predictable, and required zero willpower. That's the power of the 5-minute system. You don't need motivation, you need a system that makes the habit impossible to fail. This system uses the micro-win principle, a tiny, strategic action that guarantees forward momentum. We will hack your habits with the precision of an AI, finding the mathematically least resistant path to massive, long-term change. Are you ready to stop quitting?
Defining the micro-win. Let's introduce the core concept, the micro-win. A micro-win is a habit so small, so quick, that it literally creates zero friction in your daily routine. It is a commitment you make to yourself that takes 5 minutes or less, often much less, and is designed for one purpose only, to create momentum and reinforce the identity of a successful person. The key distinction. We need to understand the difference between a high-friction goal and a micro-win. A high-friction goal sounds like, I need to meditate for 30 minutes every morning to find peace. A micro-win sounds like, I will take one intentional breath before I check my phone. A micro-win is not about the output. It's about the initiation. The goal of instant success. The goal of the micro-win is to trick your brain into succeeding instantly. When you complete that tiny task, that one intentional breath, that one push-up, that one saved dollar, your brain releases a small, measurable dose of dopamine. That chemical reward tells your brain, this was easy and it felt good. Do it again. By making success inevitable, you automate the reward loop and build confidence, brick by 5-minute brick.
The AI angle. Activation energy. The physics of change. To understand why the 5-minute habit works, we need to talk about activation energy. In chemistry, activation energy is the minimum energy required to start a reaction. Think of trying to roll a boulder over a huge hill. That hill represents the activation energy. If the hill is too high, the reaction, the habit, never starts, or it burns you out on the way up. Your brain is constantly conserving energy, which is why it resists big, sudden efforts. Lowering the resistance. Our goal, using AI logic, is to lower that hill to almost zero. AI models, when solving complex optimization problems, always seek the path of least resistance and maximum efficiency. We are applying that same principle to your personal growth. If your goal is to run 5 miles, the activation energy is enormous. It includes finding shoes, changing clothes, traveling to the starting point, and enduring the run. That's a massive, energy-draining hill. The micro-win acts like a catalyst, lowering the activation energy required to start. The micro-win of put on your running shoes for 5 minutes is a tiny hill. Once the shoes are on, the momentum has begun. The action is now easier to continue than it is to stop. The AI's role is simple. It forces us to find the single smallest input that yields the highest probability of initiating the desired behavior. That is the definition of the 5-minute micro-win.
Part 2. The diagnostic. Finding your least resistant path. Identify the friction point. The diagnostic exercise. Now we move into the diagnostic phase. We're going to apply the AI's logic to your life. Take a moment and name the one big habit you keep failing at. Whether it's exercising, writing, reading, or saving money, hold that big goal in your mind. Finding the roadblock. The reason you fail isn't the difficulty of the task itself. It's the friction point, the single moment of resistance that causes you to procrastinate and quit. This moment is the high point of the activation energy hill we discussed. We need to locate this bottleneck with precision. Specific examples of friction. For exercise, the friction isn't the workout. It's often the act of finding and putting on your gym clothes. For writing, the friction isn't the writing. It's opening the blank laptop screen and figuring out where to start. For financial tracking, the friction is logging into your bank app or finding your receipts. Your job is to find that smallest, most annoying step that prevents you from even starting. This bottleneck is the only part of the habit we will focus on solving, and we'll solve it with the 5-minute rule, deconstructing the habit into 5 minutes. The deconstruction method. Once you've identified your bottleneck, the next step is to deconstruct that big, scary goal into an absurdly small 5-minute task. This is where the AI mindset truly shines. We minimize the computational effort required to start. Example 1. The writing goal. Let's take the goal of writing a 2,000-word essay. Your friction point was the blank screen. Bad goal. Write a 2,000-word essay. Micro-win, 5 minutes. Open your laptop, open the document, and simply type the title of the essay. That's it. If you feel like writing more, great. If not, you won the day. Example 2. The fitness goal. Consider the goal of doing an hour-long intense workout. Your friction point was putting on the clothes. Bad goal, do an hour-long intense workout. Micro-win, 5 minutes. Do one single push-up or stretch for 5 minutes immediately after changing into your workout clothes. The workout starts with the single push-up. Example 3. The learning goal. What about learning a new language? The friction point is often the complexity of grammar. Bad goal, study vocabulary and grammar for 45 minutes. Micro-win, 5 minutes. Open your language app and review one flashcard or listen to 1 minute of a podcast. The AI principle reiterated. The most important insight here is the AI principle. Only the start matters. By achieving that 5-minute micro-win, you generate internal momentum and trigger the dopamine release. You've solved the hardest problem, getting started. Volume, consistency, and progress can be added later. The first task is to make the start non-negotiable.
The zero-failure rule. The contract for success. Now for the most powerful emotional tool in the system, the zero-failure rule. Once you commit to a micro-win, say that one single push-up, the contract is this: if you do the 5 minutes, you win, period. Anything else you do is a bonus, but it is not required for success. Eliminating guilt and shame. The biggest killer of long-term consistency is the guilt and shame that comes from missing a big goal. When you commit to a 60-minute workout but only do 45 minutes, your brain registers the shortfall as a failure. The micro-win changes the scoreboard entirely. If you commit to 5 minutes of stretching and you achieve 5 minutes, you are a winner. If you then go on to do 30 minutes, you're still a winner, but the emotional pressure is removed. You're no longer negotiating with yourself. You're simply fulfilling a tiny, non-threatening agreement. Story segment, relatability and proof. I remember a client who wanted to become a daily writer. They kept failing the write for 1 hour goal. We changed the micro win to sit down at the desk with coffee and open the writing app. That's it. For a week, that's all they did. They succeeded every day. On day 8, they accidentally wrote a full page because they were already there. The goal wasn't to write. The goal was to show up. The 5-minute rule removes the heavy lifting and lets progress happen naturally. Reinforcing identity. Every time you complete your micro-win, you reinforce the identity. I am the kind of person who shows up every day. This is more valuable than any volume of work. The ultimate goal of the 5-minute habit is not just to get the task done, but to build self-trust and consistency, the foundation for massive, sustainable growth.
Part 3. The 5 Essential Micro-Wins. Wealth and Career.
The 5-minute financial audit. The problem: avoidance is friction. When it comes to wealth and career, the failure point is almost always avoidance fueled by fear. We avoid checking our bank account, our investment balances, or our credit card statements because we fear what we'll find. This fear creates massive mental friction. The micro-win. Protocol. Your micro-win is the 5-minute financial audit. This is crucial. The goal is not to budget, pay bills, or calculate net worth. The goal is simply exposure. For 5 minutes, you will log into exactly one account: your checking account, your student loan portal, or your single brokerage account, and just look at the number. Track one expense you made yesterday. That's it. No action is required, just gathering one piece of data. The power: defanging the fear of the unknown. By doing this simple act daily, you defang the fear of the unknown. You turn the emotional monster of my finances into a boring, predictable number. When you remove the emotional overhead, the real work of budgeting and saving, the stuff that naturally takes more time, becomes less resistant when you finally choose to do it. Anchor. Do this immediately after checking your morning social media feed. Instead of wasting 5 minutes scrolling, spend 5 minutes looking at your reality.
Health and movement. The 5-minute activation stretch. The problem: the myth of all or nothing. For many people, the biggest friction point in health is the all or nothing mindset. If I can't do a 45-minute intense workout, I feel like I've failed and do nothing at all. The activation energy for exercise isn't just the clothes or the travel, it's the expectation of intense physical demand and a large time sink. We need to decouple movement from obligation. The micro-win. Protocol. The micro-win here is the 5-minute activation stretch. This must be something you can do immediately, in your socks, in your kitchen, or standing next to your desk. No gear is required. The core idea is simple: get blood flowing and remind your body that movement is easy. I recommend the simple full-body flow, a cat-cow or spinal twist sequence. The goal is simple: connect your mind to your body and move one major joint for 5 minutes. The power, the momentum of motion. The power of this specific micro-win is momentum transfer. By moving your body gently for 5 minutes, you reduce stiffness and send a powerful signal to your brain: movement is safe, easy, and rewarding. This lowers the mental barrier for every subsequent decision that day. Taking the stairs, going for a lunchtime walk, or even doing that full workout later becomes a lower resistance choice. You've installed the movement identity. Anchor. Anchor this to a predictable daily ritual. Do this immediately after pouring your first cup of coffee. The coffee is your cue. The stretch is the reward.
Clarity and focus. The 5-minute brain dump. The problem: the cost of internal clutter. Before we even start our day, our working memory is jammed with to-dos, worries, appointments, and random ideas. This internal noise forces us to use cognitive bandwidth to manage lists, not to execute tasks. This is huge mental friction that prevents us from ever starting deep, resistant work. The micro-win protocol. The solution is the 5-minute brain dump. For 5 minutes, grab a physical notepad or open a dedicated digital document and write down everything, no matter how small, how silly, or how overwhelming that is currently occupying your mind. The rule is no filtering, no organizing, no editing, and no judgment. Stop after 5 minutes whether you're done or not. You are simply emptying the mental RAM. The power, the cognitive offload. By writing the items down, you externalize the burden, telling your brain, it's saved, you don't need to hold on to this memory fragment anymore. This immediately frees up mental resources, reduces decision fatigue, it ensures you start your most resistant task, deep work, with a clear, focused mind, dramatically lowering the activation energy for productivity. Anchor. Anchor this action to the moment immediately before opening your laptop to start work. The habit stacking is, after I sit at my desk, before I open my laptop, I will do my 5-minute brain dump.
Part 4. Stacking and Scaling, the Growth System.
Habit stacking, the glue that makes it stick, the neurohack for consistency. We found our micro-win, a tiny, low-resistance action. Now we have to make sure we don't forget it and we don't procrastinate it. This is where habit stacking comes in. Habit stacking is the genius of leveraging existing, deeply ingrained neural pathways to automatically launch a new behavior. You are not relying on memory or willpower. You are relying on routine, the formula. The key to stacking is the simple formula. After, current habit, I will, new 5-minute habit. The current habit must be something you perform successfully every single day without fail. The new 5-minute habit is your micro-win. The current habit acts as the immediate, zero-friction trigger. Think of it like a chain reaction. Completing the old habit automatically cues the start of the new one. Applying the stack, specific examples. Let's apply this to the 3 micro-wins we just covered. Wealth. If your anchor was checking social media, your stack becomes, after I check social media on my phone, I will do my 5-minute financial audit. Health. If your anchor was coffee, your stack becomes, after I pour my first cup of coffee, I will do my 5-minute activation stretch. Clarity. If your anchor was sitting at your desk, your stack becomes, after I sit down in my office chair, I will do my 5-minute brain dump. The power of location and time. This process works because your brain loves predictability. The current habit is already tied to a specific time and location. By linking the micro-win to that existing anchor, you dramatically reduce the cognitive effort required to decide to start the new habit. Your brain barely notices the shift. It just sees the next step in the established routine. This is the glue that makes the micro-win stick forever.
The scaling loop, the 1% principle. The trap of premature scaling. If the micro-win is the hardest part of the habit system, the second hardest part is knowing when and how to increase the volume. Most people fall into the trap of premature scaling. They succeed with their 5-minute stretch for a few days, feel great, and immediately jump to an hour-long workout. This is disastrous because it reintroduces massive activation energy and friction. The core rule is simple: never force it. The moment you feel obligation, dread, or resistance toward the habit, you are moving too fast. We designed the micro-win system to be completely free of emotional overhead. If you're forcing yourself to go from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, you're trading short-term volume for long-term consistency. Keep the micro-win at 5 minutes until it feels ridiculously easy, even trivial. The scaling trigger. Active excitement. So, when do you scale? The rule is, only scale up the habit when you are actively excited to do more than 5 minutes. This excitement is the signal that the habit has successfully transitioned from a conscious effort to an unconscious craving. If you finish your 5-minute brain dump and think, I really need to sort these top 3 items right now, that feeling is your permission to scale to 7 or 10 minutes.
The scaling must be driven by intrinsic demand, not external pressure or arbitrary goal setting. It is the reward center of your brain requesting more work, not your willpower demanding it. The 1% principle, compounding gains. When you do scale, think small. The 1% daily improvement model. Don't jump from 5 minutes to 50 minutes, move from 5 minutes to 6 minutes, or add just 1% more complexity. This slow, compounding accumulation leads to massive gains over time. 1% better every day means you are 37 times better by the end of the year. The consistency of the micro-win is the foundation. The slow scaling of the 1% principle is how you build a skyscraper on that foundation without ever needing to rush or break the system.
Building a failure buffer. The inevitable miss. Let's be realistic. Life happens. You get sick, you travel, you have an emergency, or you simply forget. Missing a day is inevitable. The traditional approach sees this miss as a total failure, leading to the what the heck effect, where you give up entirely. Our system, designed for long-term sustainability, must account for failure. We are not robots. We need a failure buffer. The 2-day rule, the breakpoint. The key to survival is simple. Never miss twice. You can miss once, life interrupted you, that's okay. But missing 2 days in a row is the neuroscientific breakpoint. It's the point where your brain starts to unlearn the new habit, and the activation energy skyrockets. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new, negative habit pattern. The 10-second rule, the emergency protocol. If you are facing a massive time crunch, intense exhaustion, or extreme distraction, and you are about to miss your second day, you engage the 10-second rule. This is the emergency protocol for consistency maintenance. If you cannot spare 5 minutes, you must do the habit for only 10 seconds. 10-second example. If your habit is the 5-minute activation stretch, you do one single stretch for 10 seconds. 10-second example. If your habit is the 5-minute brain dump, you write down one single word on your paper. 10-second example. If your habit is the 5-minute financial audit, you open the app and close it. Reinforcing identity over volume. Why 10 seconds? Because the goal here is not volume, it is identity reinforcement. You are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who never misses. The act of showing up, even for 10 seconds, maintains the streak, preserves the momentum, and most importantly, prevents the guilt and shame that are the true enemies of long-term change. Always prioritize the streak. The volume will naturally return when life calms down. The AI doesn't crash, it simply goes into low power mode until the system is stable again.
Part 5. Conclusion. The compounding effect.
The final scoreboard. The system scoreboard. You now have the complete blueprint for change, a system that is mathematically engineered to succeed. You've replaced willpower with physics and motivation with momentum. When you look back at your progress, the scoreboard only requires 3 things, the 3 pillars of inevitable habit. Pillar 1, the micro-win, the start. This is the 5-minute action designed to reduce activation energy to 0. It's the easiest possible step, the single push-up, the one intentional breath. The only rule is to start. Pillar 2, habit stacking, the trigger. This is the method for ensuring consistency. You've leveraged existing routines as the cue for your new micro-win. The only rule is to show up. Pillar 3, the 10-second rule, the buffer. This is the emergency system for resilience. By committing to 10 seconds on your worst day, you maintain your identity and prevent catastrophic failure. The only rule is never miss twice. The philosophy of smallness. This entire system relies on a crucial truth. Large, dramatic efforts produce large, dramatic failures. Only small, consistent effort creates the lasting change you crave.
Stop chasing the 10x output and start chasing the 1% improvement. The micro win ensures you always win the day, and winning the day, every day, is the only sustainable path to winning your life. The big takeaway: your life will not be transformed by what you do occasionally, but by what you do for 5 minutes every single day.
Thank you for trusting me on this journey. But don't let this be just another book you listen to. Remember the AI principle. Momentum requires an immediate input. The activation energy for taking action right now, before you check that email, before you start your next task, or before you even lift your head, is the lowest it will ever be. Go now. Define your micro win, set your stack, and begin your first streak. You are not waiting for motivation. You are not waiting for inspiration. You are the architect of your own inevitability. Start your 5 minutes now and watch the world change around you.